Alright, welcome back to JYR Trades. Today is April 2nd. It is late Thursday this evening, and I gotta tell you, as late as it is, I gotta make this video because today was such a big, important day. Okay, and so it was a big day of learning, seeing something that I've been looking for, but more than anything, learning it and seeing it happen in real time. Alright, as always guys, everything that I post here on JYR Trades, it's solely for educational purposes. It's not financial advice, but I will say this. Okay, if you're looking to become a better trader by actually learning market structure, auction theory, equilibriums, the way institutions think, the way they trade, you're in the right place. As always, if you want to join me on my journey and you want to actually learn to trade like this, you want to learn this theory, please hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment. Alright, with that said, let's go ahead and begin, guys. Alright guys, in today's session I break down one of the clearest fast reclaim days I've ever seen so far using my Remitar framework. Okay, price open deeply, displaced from value, reclaimed aggressively without needing a full auction zero tag, and pushed fast into New York value. This was not a traditional slow repair day. We had one like that yesterday. Today was different. Okay, it was a continuation reclaim driven by imbalance, stretch structure, and unfinished business above. I'm going to break down why later the short did not have the same conviction, okay, and how the stretch, the POCs, and PM behavior helped me see the difference. Alright, so here we go, guys. First of all, today was a big day. Now, the market showed me, guys, a version of a repair that did not look like the classic repair day. Alright, now we've been studying classic repairs for a while now, and to this particular repair, the overnight price was heavily displaced to the downside, far away from New York value, and that's what created the urgency before New York even opened. Alright, the context of the POCs was another big one. So let's get started. Let me show you. Alright, so this is price when it was about to open. Now, before I go into it, let me show you what I mean that price was heavily displaced to the downside. Okay, this was overnight Asia. Okay, and as you can see, all right, this is where New York PM finished. All right, you'll see here that Asia decided to just basically push price to the downside. Okay, now you'll see here that this wasn't just a 100, 200 point. This was close to 500 points here. Alright, and then of course, what does London decide to do? London doesn't try to repair it or balance it. Alright, what does London do? Decides to continue it. Alright, so between the two sessions, okay, we literally had a measurement of nearly 600 points here. Alright, when I go all the way down here, you'll see that we had roughly about 500 and like maybe 80 points or so. So that itself, our New York session, remember when I create my fib from 1 to 0, whatever measurement this gives me, I divide it by 2. So we're looking nearly at a 300 point 1 to 0 measurement on the fib. That itself was telling you that today the move was going to be big. Alright, so how did the market open? Sorry, my bad there, my bad. Alright, so how did the market open? Market was about to open, we were right here. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to look for is where is New York value? Well, New York value, guys, is actually up here. Alright, you can see these two white lines. And how do I get New York value? It's really simple. All I do is get my fixed range volume profile tool. I measure from the beginning, and my mountain time, it's 7:30 a.m. all the way to 2:59 p.m. Okay, and that gives me my value area low and my value area low. So there's my New York value right there. Alright, so price opens far from it. Okay, value is far from it, and we're looking approximately, okay, we're looking at approximately 385 points. Okay, now just because value is above us and it's far, it doesn't mean that automatically price is gonna go to it. It doesn't have to repair, right? However, there are going to be clues that are going to tell you that there's a strong possibility that there's unfinished business here at the top, and I'm going to talk to you about that now. So first things first, where are my mids? Well, we see our London mid right here, which is right above price. We see our Asia mid, which is between price and our actual New York Valley area low. Okay, now where's our POCs? Remember, our POCs have more weights and have more importance when it comes to determining what direction is going to go, where price is going to go, what direction is going to go. And so right here we have our London POC, but then over here we have one POC. So this POC is telling us that there's unfinished business that needs to be taken care of right there. And I'll tell you, if this POC had been down here, there's a good chance that price decides to drive down. But because this POC was up here, that was already giving us a big clue. Alright, so price opens, guys. Okay, and the first thing I will tell you is two things. One is I put my 0 right where price opens. That's going to give me a little view as to how price is going to move within the first 5 or 10 minutes. All right, so what I do here, guys, is first of all I draw my 120 point liquidity box. This is the area where Nasdaq will usually range when it does its first ranging within the morning. Okay, now is it going to be perfect all the time? Exactly, no. Sometimes it ranges a little bit out, comes back in, and so on. Okay, now being that we were already either in repair mode, continuation mode, okay, and the way the POC was way above us, I had just this feeling that price was going to go up. So I said, if price is going to go up, first it's going to do a fake move to the top, and then it's going to do a fail move to the bottom. And you'll notice here, literally it tags our edge of the liquidity box, and then right here it starts to go up. All right, starts to go up. In fact, Remitar, my first version of Remitar, gives me an entry long right here. All right, now what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for, at this point, for price to come up here. Now this cloud right here, this cloud looking shape, this is one of my versions of Remitar. This is my no trade zone. And yesterday, for example, what it did, it got out of it, came back, and it gave us 3 tags. Okay, now yesterday I learned a new rule yesterday, and this is what I learned, that because yesterday I was waiting for a body interaction. In other words, that the wicks would come down here past this and then come back, and that would be our entry. Well, yesterday it just did our wicks. It just tagged it and did 3 in a row, and then it moved. Now today, what was different about it was that we had this one POC over here, which is this here. It was letting us know there was unfinished balance. Price was definitely stretched. Okay, and once price decided to do a small move to the downside, okay, right here, this was all it needed. It did not need a 0 tag. Why? Because of the way price was stretched. It was far away from the New York value. Okay, we had a POC. Not to mention that we had this POC. But what I'm not showing here is we also had New York's POC. So in essence, guys, we had actually 2 POCs in here. We only had one down here. And where was it? Where was it to relative price when New York opened? It was right on it. It pushed it, gave it, I guess you can say, the takeoff push, and booyah, it took off. All right, and you'll see here, you know, I got different versions of my Remitar right here. I got multiple versions, but you'll see here that let me take some of these off here so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so this is the way I see it. Once it was getting out of the cloud, and you see this other green line here, this was probably the safest entry right here, the safest sniper entry here. Okay, what would I have tagged here? I would have probably gone for the 1. Okay, now I'll tell you right now here what trade I took and why I took it. So this here, and then you'll see here when I put this version of Remitar, these are my 3 larger lines. These are also what I call no trade zones, and you'll notice here when this line is on par with this one, it's out of the no trade zone. So that one gave it away. And also my Remitar 2.1, my 3 EMAs were actually, price was already over them. So this area right here became the area where you could say it was the safest sniper entry. Okay, now I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I did not take a trade. In fact, not in all of these. Where I took a trade, guys, was from about here to here. And why? Is because I had a meeting to attend to at work, and I couldn't be in front of the chart, or at least I couldn't be seeing it from time to time. And so I'm like, I knew this move was gonna happen. I knew this was gonna come up. What I just wasn't aware is that I was expecting a rejection here. Okay, this was enough today because of the fact that we had literally this POC here, not to mention New York's POC that you're not, I mean, I don't put it there no more, but we had 2 POCs here letting us know there wasn't finished positions up top. And this was one of the cleanest fast repairs that I've seen in a while, or that I've seen now that I'm beginning to understand structure. Alright, so I took this trade. From time to time when I was in my meeting, I think I decided to look at the phone, and I was like, I checked it out really quickly, and I saw, I think we were already here. I was like, wow, it's moving. What I was not expecting is this. Once you'll notice here, guys, this was a pullback. This was a perfect entry. If you were late to the party, this, I mean, not to mention that all of these were good entries, but this was a pullback. Once it touched this green version of Remitar, this thicker green line, boom, it went, kept going, hit our mid here, gave a little bit of a pullback, hit our Remitar here once again, and voila, this took off. Now what is amazing about this is, let's look at our fib at the 2. I mean, this thing went to the 2, nearly tagged. I mean, look at that here. And then what you'll notice here is price decides to say, hey, we finished our business, we're gonna just hang around our POCs here. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Now if I decide to go back over here, guys, and just for the heck of it and see where our New York POC, let's take a look here. Okay, remember I told you that I get my fixed range falling profile too, and what I do is I look at, first let me take this off here because it's not letting me see my tool here. Alright, so you can see here the time right here, alright, by the way. And so if I go to 7:30, it's pretty close, 7:31, and I go to 3, say, you'll see it here, 3:59. Give me a second. This is a little hard to do with a mouse. I'm messing it. There we go. So where is my POC? It's right here. You'll see it's literally right above it. So you'll see, if I were to put another POC line here based on the New York one, you would see that it would go right here, and that's what it did. Now look at price. Look at price. Wow, look at that. 2 POCs right there. So price decided to come back up here. Now this is kind of giving me the sense that maybe I do need to put my New York POC, because if I see 2 POCs, that's where price is going to go. So you'll notice that price decides to hang around here, right? We're comfortable. This is where we feel good. Now I'll tell you guys, when I seen my Remitar 2.0 version, if you've been following me, you know that my Remitar 2.0 bands decide to get flat here for New York PM, which worked great. because I can always tell when price is going to come back down here. It usually starts migrating, pushes down to our middle band, and then once again to our red. Now yesterday we had a slow repair day, and it did go up to I think the 1.25, and then eventually price in the New York PM just started to, eventually about 40 minutes after New York PM started, it started dropping. It started going from here to here to here all the way to the auction zero. Now, why did it not go today? And I'll tell you why. Well, I'll tell you what, I remember seeing this and I'm like, I'll notice, the first thing I noticed was that it started drifting even before New York PM got started. It usually doesn't do that. Okay? It usually doesn't do that. Yesterday this was down here. It was at a distance. So when I saw that yesterday, I realized that I had taken it long and I was like, oh, no, I'm in the wrong trade here. It's going to go short. Okay? And the reason why yesterday I felt strongly about it was because yesterday we only had price. We had a much smaller fib setup, and not to mention that it only went to about the 1.25 yesterday. And so I knew that there was a good chance that it was going to come back and do an entire auction repair. And that's what it did yesterday. Today was just a value repair. All right, because why? The fib was already large enough, nearly 300 points, okay? And it went all the way to past the 2, actually. Past the 2. And so here, when I went in, I would think I went in somewhere around here. And yeah, it gave me some drawdown here, but I wasn't sweating it. I was like, okay, it's got to do its thing. And I was seeing the price move, and my hunch was just like telling me, you know what? It didn't have the same tempo as yesterday. And so what did I do? I took partials. I decided to get out, took some profit. I was happy with it. Okay. And good thing I did, because price decides to, you'll notice again, stick around the POCs here, comes back. Eventually price goes down close to my exit. My exit was probably like around here. Okay. But then you'll see that price eventually starts coming back up, goes back to the POCs, goes above them, and pretty much ends the day there. Okay. Man, the big lesson of the day. Then here's a big lesson that I've learned today. Remember yesterday I learned that if you start outside of New York value, all you need is a wick at the auction zero. But the POCs yesterday were not, they were not creating this here. In other words, a large overnight stretch imbalance, an urgency to come up here. And so this was early trader, early long traders getting in here. All right. And this is a fast repair. It did not require an actual tag at the auction zero. Okay. This was different. It was still a repair, but it was a fast. It was not a normal slow repair. Yesterday's repair, it took us nearly 2 hours to get to that 1.25. Okay. Today it was different. An hour and 10 minutes, we were already at the top. Okay. All right. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the video. Okay. I hope that you got some valuable lesson from this. Remember to check out the pinned comment, because the pinned comment is going to have the journal of the day, and I am going to have an image there that's going to show how New York opened, with labels to help you remember, help you see it. And sooner or later we're going to be writing this move here, this entire move. Okay. And so with that said, hopefully you enjoyed again an episode here on JYR Trades, and we'll see you on the next one.